You are not going to believe the story I am about to tell you, and this is going to serve as a huge warning. A homeowner in Austell, Georgia tried to fix a flooding problem in his backyard, and he spent nearly $25,000 on drainage, got all the proper permits from the city, and thought he solved the problem. Then his HOA started fining him, claiming his repairs caused flooding for other properties, and I don't really know that that's true. But anyway, when he tried to sell his home, the HOA said he owed $8,000. Take a look at this story.
Backyard dream quickly turned into an HOA nightmare.
All of these are just made-up fines for me solving a problem that was never even mine to begin with.
His backyard sits on a hill. After moving in, he learned his neighbor had installed a system to stop her yard from flooding, which he says causes his yard to flood and the ground to sink in. But Justin says when he asked the HOA for help, they said it was his responsibility. So he got permits with the city and connected a storm drain from his yard to the city's.
About how much money?
My estimate is $25,000.
But then he started receiving fines from the HOA claiming his landscaping modifications were causing flooding for other properties.
I've already spent $25,000 on a drainage system. I've spent maybe $15,000 on attorneys. We're going through all the savings. It's going to have the effect of making us homeless.
And just down the street, in that same community, another homeowner got hit with a $3,000 lien on her property for putting, get this, too much mulch around her mailbox instead of sod.
This is the mulch that we put around the mailbox.
Within a few months, the HOA said she needed to replace the mulch with sod, although we couldn't find sod requirements anywhere in the community's covenants.
That HOA budget in that community has tripled since 2019 with a 500% increase in fines. And here's what nobody tells you. There's little to no regulations on homeowners associations here in Georgia. Under current law, an HOA can file a lien on your home for any amount owed. And if that lien exceeds $2,000, guess what? They can foreclose and take your house, even if you are current on your mortgage. Today, I'm breaking down everything you need to know about HOAs before you buy in one. The hidden costs that can blindside you, the restrictions that control what you can do with your own property, and most importantly, the one document that reveals whether an HOA is financially healthy or if it's a disaster waiting to happen. Stick with me because at the end, I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, and if an HOA won't give you this information, you have to walk away immediately. Before we dive in, I want to make a disclosure. I am not anti-HOA. In fact, I think they can be great for keeping your neighbors from parking their broken down cars on the lawn, maintaining clean and uniform looks throughout the neighborhood, and providing great amenities like pools, gyms, walking trails that you would never get in a regular neighborhood. But here's the thing, not all HOAs are created equal. Some are well run, they're financially healthy, and actually add a lot of value to your home and the surrounding community. Others are poorly managed, they're financially questionable, and they can turn your dream home into an absolute nightmare if you don't know what to look for. So don't go into this process thinking that all HOAs are bad or that you have to live in one. Instead, go in with your eyes wide open, know exactly what to look for and what red flags mean you should walk away. When you're buying a home in an HOA, most people only look at the monthly or annual dues. But those dues are just the beginning. There are three major costs that you need to be aware of. Number one, special assessment. A special assessment is when the HOA needs money for a major expense, like roof repairs, if that's covered in your HOA, road resurfacing, or building improvements, and they don't have enough money in their reserve to cover those repairs. So they pass that cost along to you, the homeowner. And here's the kicker, you don't get a choice. If an HOA votes to pass a special assessment, you have to pay it. Fines for violation. Most HOAs have rules, we know that. Some are reasonable, like keeping your lawn mowed or not parking on the street overnight. But some have gotten absolutely out of hand or even made up. I've heard of an HOA fining homeowners $1,500 for harassing a board member, and the definition of harassment was whatever the board decided it was. In that Austell community that we talked about, one homeowner got fined $50 a day, then $25 a day for nearly 3 months over mulch around a mailbox. Another homeowner's elderly mother got fined for leaving her trash can out too long when she's literally fallen trying to get the trash can up and down the driveway. But instead of giving her a break or trying to figure out a solution that works for everyone and maybe just, I don't know, be a good person and help somebody out, the fines started to add up. And if you don't pay them, they turn into liens, and liens can turn into foreclosure. Cost number 3, increasing dues. HOA dues do not stay the same. They go up over time. Some HOAs raise dues modestly, maybe 2% to 5% a year to keep up with inflation, but others raise them aggressively. In that Austell community, the HOA budget tripled from 2019 to 2025. And get this, in 2024, they had a 500% increase in projected income from fines. They're literally budgeting to fine homeowners $30,000 as a revenue source. And that's not maintaining the community. That's profiting off your mistakes. So before you buy, you need to look at an HOA's history of dues increases. And if they've been raising dues by 10%, 15%, 20% every year, that is a major red flag. All right, so let me talk to you about some common restrictions that I see a lot in these HOA communities, because this is where a lot of people get blindsided. HOAs have rules, sometimes a lot of rules. And if you violate those rules, you get fined. So before you buy, you need to know what you're signing up for. Some of the most common HOA restrictions I see are if you want to paint your door a certain color, you can't do that because a lot of these HOAs have very specific color palettes and they may have 2 or 3 colors you can pick from, and then that's it. Or I've seen some where they don't allow you to park your car in the driveway overnight, or especially street parking. They won't allow it. And it doesn't matter if you have family in town. They will fine you for it. I've had some clients that had to get HOA approval to install a fence in their backyard. So you just have to know what you're signing up for, and you have to know the rules. Another big one is some HOAs will let you rent out your home, and this is a big one, and some of them won't. So just because you think you're moving into a single family home and not a townhome or a condo that you will be allowed to rent, that's not necessarily true. So before you go and invest all this money into a potential investment property, you have to know what the rules are. Now, not all restrictions are bad. Some people love HOAs because they keep the neighborhood looking uniform and well maintained. I completely get it. But you need to know what you're agreeing to before you buy. Because once you close on your home and you move in, you are legally bound to follow those rules, whether you like them or not. If you are buying a home with an HOA, there is one document that will tell you everything you need to know about the financial health of that HOA. And if the HOA won't give it to you, that is a massive red flag. That document is called the reserve study. The reserve study shows you how much money the HOA has set aside for major repairs and replacements. Things like roofs, roads, siding, pools, clubhouses, the whole thing. These are expenses and they need to be replaced eventually. The reserve tells you how much money the HOA has and how financially prepared they are for those expenses. Or if they're going to have to hit you with a massive special assessment when something breaks. So here's what you want to see. You want the reserve study to show the HOA is fully funded or at least 70% funded. If it's under 50% funded, that is a major red flag. It means they don't have enough money to cover future expenses if that happens, and you could be looking at a special assessment down the road. And I will tell you, there is no ceiling to how much a special assessment can be. Now, in addition to the reserve study, you also want to see the HOA's budget. You want the meeting minutes, and you want the CC&Rs, which stands for the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. The budget shows you how much money they're bringing in, where they're spending it, and how much they're putting into the reserves. The meeting minutes show you the HOA's issues that they're talking about during the meetings. Now, this isn't meeting minutes like you're going to get a bunch of links to, videos of an HOA board meeting. It's like an outline that you can read through and you can see what topics they have talked about in the last 3 months, 6 months, whenever they've met. And also, the CC&Rs tells you the rules and the restrictions that you have to follow. If the HOA will not provide these documents, or if they've only given you a typed Excel spreadsheet without actual receipts for invoices, that is a huge red flag. They should be willing and able to be fully transparent with all of these things. So that's the negative. Let's talk about when HOAs are actually worth it. Now, before you write off HOAs, because I know I've probably literally scared you to death, let me tell you why you should still consider one. A well-run HOA can actually add a lot of value to your home, and here's why. First, they maintain common areas. If you have a pool, a gym, walking trails, or landscape areas, the HOAs take care of all that, and you don't have to worry about it. Second, they enforce reasonable standards. If you care about your neighbors not painting their house neon green or parking their broken down cars in the front yard, the HOA will obviously prevent that. Third, they can increase property values. Homes in well-maintained HOA communities often sell for more than comparable homes without HOAs because buyers like the consistency and upkeep. And fourth, they handle the disputes. If you have a neighbor issue like someone's tree is, dropping a bunch of leaves on your yard, or their dog won't stop barking in the middle of the night, the HOA can step in and mediate. So yes, HOAs can be worth it if they're well run and they're financially healthy and they're transparent. All right, so how do you know if an HOA is good or bad? Here's how to protect yourself. Request all the HOA documents: budget, reserve study, meeting minutes, CC&Rs, in any recent audits. Read them, and if you don't understand them, hire an attorney to review them. Look at the reserve study and make sure the HOA is at least 70% funded. If they're underfunded, it's probably safe that you could expect a special assessment at some point. Look at the budget and see where the money is going. Are they spending responsibly? Or are they putting money into reserves? Or are they barely scraping by? And here's a new one based on the Estelle story that I've learned. Look at where the income is coming from. If a significant portion of their budget is coming from fines, like $30,000 in projected fines, like they are budgeting for that in the future. So if they're trying to raise $30,000, they've got to get to it somehow. So that tells me they are going to be aggressive with fining their homeowners because they have a number to meet. Look at the meeting minutes. Are there ongoing disputes, or are homeowners constantly being fined? Is there litigation? If that's yes, that is a red flag. And frankly, I think you should just walk away altogether and not even consider that community. And finally, like I said earlier, talk to current homeowners. Knock on a few doors and ask them if they like living there. Ask them if the HOA is responsive, or if they've had issues, or if they've been hit with any special assessments in the past couple of years. If homeowners are happy and the financials look good, you're probably fine. But if people are immediately starting to complain and the documents don't add up, you got to walk away. And listen, I'm not saying every homeowner that you talk to is going to sing the praises of the HOAs, because Lord knows not everybody loves the HOA president, but take a general consensus. You might have one outlier, but if the other 5 people that you talked to said that the HOA was great, then it's probably a safe bet. Look, HOAs aren't inherently bad, but they're not inherently good. It all depends on how they're run. So the story from Estelle is a reminder of what can happen when the HOA is poorly managed, overly aggressive with fines, and they focus more on revenue than they do the actual community. So before you buy an HOA, do your homework. Get the documents, read them, ask questions, and if something doesn't feel right, trust your gut and walk away. Because once you close, you're stuck with that HOA, and getting out of it is a lot harder than getting into it in the first place. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you on the next one.